Hello, welcome to Moosty's channel. So my last video I said Dan Sullivan owned the Sullivan Arena in Anchorage. Well, I think I was wrong because it's telling me the municipality of Anchorage actually owns it. He is in government. I don't know if he has part ownership or if he owns stocks in it or, I don't know his personals. But today we are going to talk about alien sightings, the most recent I could find when I looked them up online. Me and my best friend are obsessed with aliens. Ever since we saw the night sky light up one night, we're driving home from Talkeetna down back to Big Lake, and all of a sudden, whole sky lights up, and we've seen the stars make right angles. The stars don't make right angles, but so here I found on WTXL.com a pretty cool article. It was written June 28th on 2019, so it's a little old, but one of the most solid ones I could find. The National UFO Reporting Center says there has been 120,424 UFO sightings throughout human history. I believe there has been more because ancient Japan has UFOs written down in their history books. The 5 states that viewed the most were the number one's Washington State. That's pretty cool. That's down below us. Two, Montana. That one took me by surprise, but it's big open country out there. That's big sky country. 3 is Vermont. Doesn't surprise me there. Vermont's always been an oddball. And 4 is Alaska, which, yay, we made the list. And then 5 is Maine, which is the other Alaska. So the least we have on this list, or the number one least, is Texas. Then it's Louisiana. Then we have Georgia, Mississippi, and Alabama. So they're all kind of clustered together. Alaska does rank the highest out of all four or all five of us on the out of the five. So count all time and state. So and out of all time we have the most. It's telling me. So we had 6,500 sightings in our recorded history up here. But Alberta, Canada has 8,700. So they got a couple, but we're in that area. And the discs, the old school discs that everybody, in the 50s that everybody was obsessed with, there's only been 7,500 disc shaped UFOs sightings. And this article was written by Katie Cox, both with K's, KOX. And, I found a website. It's it's duforc.org, and it has lists of every UFO sighting that's reported. So recently, on the 27th of September, 8/27, we there was a UFO sighting, and it was 3 football fields wide with 3 lights on the back. You guys can go on duforc.org, and then you guys can go through and look. It has detailed reports and what they exactly said. They're going to show you little reports, but if you click on it, it will go into a detailed report, which I thought that was really cool for all you alien nerds out here. So right now, I went on Anchorage Daily News, and I'm reading this article. Yeah, we're reading this article. How frustrated pilots got the Navy to stop dismissing their UFO sightings. So I'm guessing, since 2014, these intrusions have been happening on a regular basis. Joseph Gradisher, spokesman for the Deputy Chief of Naval Operations for Informative Warfare, told the Washington Post on Wednesday recently unidentified aircraft entered military designated airspace as often as multiple times per month. We want to get to the bottom of this. We need to determine who's doing it and where it's coming from and what their intent is. We need to try to find ways to prevent it from happening again. Citing safety and security concerns, Gradisher vowed to investigate each and every report. Another thing I've seen in here, who said this? Chris Mellon, a former Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for Intelligence and a staffer on the Senate Intelligence Committee, was less laudatory. I don't believe in safety through ignorance, he said, scolding the intelligence community for its lack of curiosity and courage and failure to react to a strong pattern of sightings. I agree there, because if you guys ever watched Project Blue Book, it's amazing. Um, Actually, now I'm put on the spot. I forgot the man's name. But the doctor in there, he's been working for like since the 70s for the Air Force and the Navy, I believe. He reported the sightings the Army got a hold of. I think he even investigated a little bit of Roswell. He's an older gentleman. He's up there in age, but he's a professor. The show isn't point for point. It's still a show, but you can take that and then go look for that information. We've seen he actually has documentaries of like what I'm doing. He'll just talk, or he debate with somebody, and that's the man that truly got me into these UFOs and aliens, and the fact that me and Jordan saw some pretty crazy stuff going on in the sky. So back to our article. So Mr. Mellon said that in some cases, pilots, many of whom are engineers and academy graduates, say they observe small spherical objects flying in formation. That's been around for a long time. The little white spheres flying around, doing weird things. And then the tic-tac shaped vehicles. Because he says, others say they've seen white tic-tac shaped vehicles aside from drones. All engines rely on a burning fuel to generate powder, but these vehicles all had no air intake and no wind and no exhaust coming from them. It is very mysterious, and they still seem to exceed our aircraft in speed, he said, calling it a truly radical technology. According to Mellon, an awestruck and baffled pilots concerned that reporting unidentified flying aircraft would adversely affect their careers, tending not to speak up, and when they did, he said there was little interest into investigating their reports. So people are kind of scared to come forward about these kinds of things because it's crazy. Like, think about it. Like if you grow up normal and someone's like, hey, I seen something that's not from this earth flying in the sky, you're gonna be like, what? What's in front of me is what's real. So the only reason I'm bringing this up is because recently they brought up the fact that there's microbial bacteria, or possibly they're arguing phosphine had microbial bacteria in Venus. That case has been open since 1978. And, phosphine's combustible and toxic, which, I could see something eating off of it. Look at the bottom of the ocean. They say the ocean is the closest thing to outer space we can get. So who knows what at the bottom of the Marianas Trench is. So why is there no microscopic alien woolly bear eating, phosphine up in the upper atmosphere of Venus? Back to our little report here. Imagine you are seeing highly advanced vehicles. They appear on radar systems. They look bizarre, but no one knows where they're from. This happens on a recurring basis, and no one does anything, said Mellon, who now works for the UFO Data. They're probably an organization. You can easily look them up. I believe I actually did find... Yeah, I believe I did find some stuff on it. I just didn't write it down. I have another article pulled up I want to get to. In 2017, the Pentagon first confirmed the existence of the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program. That's a big deal because I've heard and I've seen on like the Spanish news, I don't know exactly, I think Brazil, Mexico, and Spain, they openly talk about this stuff. Like UFOs come through their airports, their military bases, and it's on the news because they're excited. They're not like, let's, cover this up because who knows how people react. Well, it's 2020. We have lights on command. We have cars. We can fly. We're doing things people never thought we could do 50, 60 years ago even because, it just wasn't, they couldn't wrap their heads around it. So the fact that we can't wrap our heads around this in this day and age is kind of insulting because I believe there are many people out there like me that would just embrace it. It doesn't kill your religion. Who said that your God or your deity didn't create these things? You can still be religious and believe in aliens. There's no, if God created everything, then he created that too. That's my argument against it. Okay, back to this. A government operation launched in 2007 to collect and analyze anomalous aerospace threats, as the Post's Jobby Warwick reported. The investigation ranged from advanced aircraft fielded by traditional U.S. adversaries to commercial drones to possible alien encounters. According to former Pentagon officials and documents previously seen by the Post, program funding, which totaled at least $22 million, was suspended in 2012. That's actually a pretty low number for a government program, in my opinion. This year, the Navy spokesman said that in response to requests for information from congressional members and staff officials have provided a series of briefings by senior naval intelligence officials as well as aviators who reported hazards to aviation safety. Personally, I haven't heard much about aliens getting violent, or we'll just call them UFOs, but I haven't heard much of them actually like doing anything cruel or things like that in the sky, at least. But yeah, it's a possible threat. What happens if you guys collide? In that show, Project Blue Book, when those spheres come over, that's what they say started the Cold War, because we didn't know if it was Russia, and Russia didn't know if it was us. And it tends to, when things like what's going on in the world now, when there's like big events, just wars that are going to wipe out whole cultures and stuff, there's always tended, like in history too, it's written down, chipped in walls and pyramids, whatever you want to, you name it, it's probably in their history books. But there's like two stories in the Middle East and India about the battle in the sky that was, lasers, but they didn't call it lasers, you know what I mean? Different colors in the sky going off, going nuts. And it was the lizard people versus the ant people. Like, it's just, how do two religions, or not religions, but two cultures that have never talked to each other at the same time have similar stories? Just something to think about. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say in the comments, whether you believe it or not. I just thought it was an interesting topic to start talking about, because here we have something on 2020 from, who wrote this? filmdaily.co/news/aliens. I honestly haven't heard much about Film Daily or News Daily, it's Film Daily. This is from August 10th, 2020 by Brinley Louise. 2020 is so insane, we all miss the news. Gray aliens might be real. Let's see what they have to say here. They're kind of rehashing, filling his stuff in. Recently, the U.S. government has pledged to be more transparent about their investigations of UFOs and other potential extraterrestrial research. Whether this means the famed little gray men with big bulging eyes are real is still up in the air for now. I don't know what they look like. We don't have a definite, image, or at least I'm not putting one on there until, I see it, or someone credible enough sees it. Or, like our government, if they came out with we came out with a way to, like a autopsy or something, or, I don't think we should be cutting these things up because they're more advanced than us. But here, they're talking about statistics now. So, statistically speaking, Kane, would you plug my computer in, please? The Fermi paradox states that all math says, statistically speaking, alien life of the intelligence variety should not only exist, but we should also have interacted with us in some way by now. But that's where the paradox lies. We have essentially no verifiable proof alien life exists, let alone they've interacted with us. Well, we're going to go back to my argument of how come in the days of samurai, these ancient, in ancient Japan, they have multiple parts of the island that didn't talk, or the coastal tribes, they all have the same history of a UFO washing up on the beach. It was a huge deal back then. The Japanese government probably hid that, or who knows, because I don't know if I just read it or not, but I was reading before this video that the government admits to having material from crash sites. I believe it's this one, but they have materials that they've confirmed it can't be from this earth. It's no alloy from this earth, or it's not on, they don't know where it came from. Okay, we'll get back to this. In fact, recently a brand new study came out of the University of Nottingham and was published in the Astrophysical Journal. This study conservatively estimates there should be at least 36 different alien civilizations with life intelligent enough to be communication within the Milky Way galaxy alone. Let's see. Which, maybe they're just their rules are you can't. We're in the Stone Age compared to them, obviously. Um, However, these civilizations would who could potentially be similar, evolved technology speaking, to ourselves would of course be thousands and thousands of light years away, making detection, let alone communication, nearly impossible for us right now. Well, recently, uh, that huge satellite dish they listen to noises for in the solar system. There's been a few instances in the last 5 years alone um, that they're hearing things back. It could just be like rocks hitting each other or whatever, but there's waves bouncing back. They don't know how old they are. They could be 700 years old. They could be 7,000 years old. They could be 7 minutes old. We don't know yet. But that's the interesting part. That's the fun part. Is the mystery. Okay, this is the thoughts on the Pentagon. This is gonna be interesting. There have been numerous videos online of strange night sky sightings, and even a few leaked videos from the military, which showcase confused pilots attempting to chase shockingly and fast and oddly shaped aerial vehicles. The real kicker, though, this year the Pentagon finally acknowledged those leaked videos as real UFO sightings. The aircraft that nobody was able to identify, while they could be the creations of another country, which is very possible. They could, who knows? Israel, I believe, they got some pretty advanced technology over there. The real kicker, though, oh no, I read that. To the next paragraph. The New York Times, yuck. The New York Times was even given some slides from briefings. Almost everything related to the unidentified aerial vehicles is entirely on a need-to-know classification. Understandable, but not understandable. One of the slides has a sentence reading AAV phenomena of foreign derivation, including off-world, being globally deployed / tested, including CONUS, CONUS. The New York Times says AAV stands for Advanced Aerospace Vehicles. Their source also clarified that the only thing in the realm of the truly unexplained are referred to as AAV. I heard a different name. They don't want to call it UFOs anymore because they think it will scare people. Oh, here it is, the crash sites. There have also recently been admissions from the high-ranking officials who have had direct knowledge and even worked on UFO research, who said the United States has recovered materials from the crash sites of unidentifiable flying vehicles. Some of them have said the parts recovered could not possibly be made on this Earth. Though they have been unable to say more on the subject, likely due to the classified nature of this work, so whether the technology seems far beyond our capacity scientifically, or the parts are generally made of materials not existing on Earth, is unknown at this time. Well, we've only, I think, dug a mile deep in our crust, and I believe our crust is 14 miles deep. So, if there is a way to, maybe some materials are shifted out, if you know anything about mining and geography and all that fun stuff, maybe it came from this Earth. I highly doubt it because man has been mining for a long, long time, and we kind of know what our metals are. Once you're on this planet for 20,000 years of recorded human history, who knows? I believe it's not from this Earth. There are some pretty good documentaries from people that were little kids in the 40s at Roswell, saying the MPs came in because Daddy brought home a piece of tinfoil. They crumpled it up and it went back into a piece of paper, completely flat. You couldn't punch through it. All sorts of crazy properties that that was unthinkable back then. MPs would come in and say, we'll make you disappear in the desert if you ever speak about this. Well, now they're 90 plus years old and they're speaking on this because either those MPs are gone, and the general back in the day that was running that kind of program even hid this from the president. That the show Project Blue Book will explain that, and then you have to take those stories or those leads, and then you have to dig for them. If you have the time, good. If not, hopefully people like me can help you. What comes next? Does this mean within our lifetime we could be shaking hands with the fabled little gray man? I doubt it. Man's kind of ignorant, especially with the events that are happening lately. I wouldn't want to go to a war zone, would you? Honestly, at this point, there's no answer to the question. The Pentagon has promised more information on their hunt for UFOs in the near future, and everyone is not so patiently sitting on the edge of their seats waiting for answers. What we do know is that if the gray men are real, that's going to be real when for people who have been called crazy fringe conspiracy theorists their whole lives. So the next time you look up at the night sky, let out your inner Fox Mulder and, oh, it is Mulder, I believe. That's his name. And know the truth apparently really is out there. We know that we're already doing our best, sculling Precious by starting our I Want to Believe poster. That's funny. Okay. So basically, it could or it couldn't. A lot of argument leans to it could. Just the math probabilities alone. Like, we're dust compared to our solar system. And I truly believe it's ignorant and selfish to think we are the only people in the solar system. That's a very small-minded thought. So, my second segment of today's video, we talked about fishing in our last video a little bit. Don't buy stuff from the store. I'll tell you why. Look at this collection here. My grandpa Bob, he goes out every day, and it's October, and he's still swimming in the river, and that water is cold. It's about 40 degrees today. And he gets in his little dry suit, and he goes in the river for, I think he did 4 hours yesterday. We have 1,301 lures in these 5 boxes here. So, today, we have Vibrexes, 4s and 5s, I believe. But look, boxes. This is why I say don't buy crap from the store. Where'd he find these? Snagged. In the same spot every single day. How much are these? These are $5 to $6 to $8 a piece. If you are going to buy stuff. Oh, never mind. This is not what I thought it was. Okay. That's just one box. Box number 2. We have number 2s and 3s. I would buy these because I love trout. Like this. This little guy here. This little blue one here. That's going to kill trout when you're out trolling. You lead this about 2 feet behind some cowbells. Even this alone with a couple split shot about 3 feet in front of it. You'll murk some trout on like a 2 setting on your trolling motor. Ooh, even this, like, see this little trout pattern here? This little trout pattern here? That's a good one. But these are just more money just sitting in there. They're about the same price. I think these are $5. Pretty ridiculous. And you can buy the stuff in bulk and make your own. Alright, number 6s. These things are monster. Honestly, you do not need giant lures to catch salmon. I use teeny tiny trout hooks and I do just fine. Look, this one's brand new. Still got all the paint, just a little bit of rust from, but he gets most of the rust off. He clips the hooks off if they're bad, and then he'll replace them. Look at this monster. Look at that. It's ridiculous. It's like trolling in the ocean. Yeah, you want to make a lot of noise, but throwing that in a river, that's silly. We got big bombers in here, big. Handfuls. Alright, what do we got next? We got number 5s. Number 5s. Oh, look, he has even more coming out. Corkies. Thank you, Grandpa. These are called hoochies. These squids. I like hoochies though. I use these ice fishing a lot because I do a lot of jigging out on Big Lake. If you ever come to Alaska and you want to go ice fishing, let me know because I'll totally meet up with you and take you to some cool spots. Look, just handfuls and handfuls. Now we're getting to the expensive. Here. He just brought me out a tub of this. These jigs, $5 to $6 a pop. $4 at minimum for the cheap kind. Just bags, and he has bags of these. He gives them away. He gives a lot of this stuff away to his friends. Corkies, these I believe are 20 plus cents. These are almost $1. Actually, the big ones are $1, like Cabela's and stuff. These are, you'll see everybody fishing with these, bait fishing. I don't even bother anymore. After this year, use a bobber. Use one of these, a slip bobber, and float that way. Unless you're in some, the water calls for you to fish like this. But other than that, the slip bobber is the best way to do it with a tiny piece of shrimp, and you'll catch a full-size king. Look, big bobbers even. This is expensive. Just someone was fishing in the river with this thing. You catch sharks with this. I wouldn't even fish halibut with this unless I was trying to go for trophy halibut. I'd ice fish with this. Okay. Now we're gonna get to the here it is. The big box. These are anywhere from $5. Rarely I find them for $5. This one I know is $12. $12. $12 to $14. Look at these. These are expensive. These are MEPs. Actually, no. Are these? I don't know. Look at those. These aren't cheap. $7 a pop. People trying to use bass fishing gear here. I think this would work great for pike up here. Maybe trout if you had a teeny tiny one. I never caught trout on them down in the States, but oh look, I know the bass fishermen know all about these. I do like these though. These are fun to fish with for silvers and off the back of the boat. The pink one, nice one. That's they all bite different colors. Here, this I would recommend one of these. Like these are close to needlefish. Lure Jensen actually might make this one too. But these are just Kodiak Customs. These are like $10 a pop. These are stupid expensive, and I've caught everything on these, but they're just ridiculously priced for, I'm not saying don't come here and go fishing, but don't make sure you spend your money on, you don't have to buy name brand crap to catch a fish here. These are a Russian favorite. I know in Russia they love these things. They love fishing. I like pixies too, but they haven't really worked for me in recent years. But these, Grandpa, you say about these are like $6-7 a piece. The pixies.
Something like that.
Yeah, just it's lead. If not, it's just crap metal poured into a stamp. Like here's one torn apart. This one actually might fish well because it's weird. But look, it's just that, and then they stamp a little piece of plastic in there. It's, it mimics a nice little fish. Like here's the yellow one. I've used yellow before and it worked for silvers in the creek. But these are heavy, so they like to get snagged. But he has boxes of them, see? Boxes. We haven't even gotten to the hardware. So check out the hardware here. We got a box of lead. What do you think's in here? Want to guess? Let's see here. Let's see if we can, oh, fucker. Here it is. Split shot. Oh, this isn't even counting what the man has in storage in his closet. He has one of those big black totes just full of, like here's a couple hundred beads. This is just crap he finds in the river, like just big balls of nests. Yeah, this is the lead, and it's heavy. It's full. That's not even full. It's about 1/3 of the way full, and he has a 5-gallon bucket full, and you need a dolly to move it around. That's how heavy it is. It's ridiculous. Look at this. This I know are like $2 for 8 of them. Handfuls. This is a container, and as you can see, it is full to the top. This isn't the only one either. I love this hobby. Don't have to buy fishing gear, or at least we don't. We hand it out like candy on the riverbanks. Grandpa's a good Samaritan down there. He gets you unstuck, stuff like that. He'll just walk in there and get you unstuck. People will say the salmon are going to be scared if you walk into the river and splash around. They don't care. They play with seals. They play with killer whales. There are way bigger things in the ocean. They don't care. And plus, they have one thing on their mind when they're in these rivers: to go up and spawn and die. That's just the way of things here. Even trout don't really care when you're... depending on where you are. Like in the Little Sioux, I like to not be loud. Well, when I'm up there, upriver, away from the ocean, where they're kind of more spooky because they're eating bugs and they're not, fighting salmon, because salmon will bite them and throw them around because they're sitting right behind the salmon. Any eggs drop out there. That's why we use beads. Just, you want to get the same diameter bead of the species that are in the river. So like dog salmon have bigger sized eggs. Pinks have smaller sized eggs. Silvers have medium sized eggs. Kings have fat juicy eggs just like dogs. So that's just a small preview of Grandpa's collection. One of these days we'll go to the storage unit and show you the pounds and pounds and pounds of gear. Oh yeah, here, 1 second here. Here's just a preview of Grandpa's pride and joy here. Look at all that lead. Look at those big bastards. How much are those pounders? Those are a pound, the big ones?
5-pound balls.
5-pound balls that he melted and made himself.
It's called crap lead.
That he out of his crappy lead, the lead that's disfigured and kind of goes back to its organic shape out there. If you guys like to gold pan or anything, you know how lead gets formed. And thank you, Caden. Here's another part. That was how many years ago did you take this picture?
That one?
Yeah.
6.
6 years ago. This is a 6-year-old picture. So imagine what the man has now. We're trying to get Grandpa to start his own fishing shop, but business license and good old government bottlenecking again. But I'd like to hear in the comments what you guys have to say. If you guys like this video, thumbs up. If you guys don't want to hear any more on aliens, go look somewhere else. I'll probably do a couple more videos. I love aliens, so I'm not a nut job. It's too big a possibility. Feedback's always helpful. I hope you guys have a good rest of your day.